you. So, welcome everybody to the Cumbria Community Council meeting for October. We have enough members of the Community Council to be quorate. Does anyone want to make a declaration of interest? I've circulated the agenda. No. Anyone want to make any amendments to last month's minutes? No. Okay, so if we just go through our usual updates from different organisations, do we have anyone here tonight from the police? No. Okay, I will go back to them because I think that's a few months that we haven't heard from them. And then can we go to John?
Hey, evening all. Yep, hi. So we had two taskings since the last meeting, I recall. The first one was a vessel which lost its engine somewhat dangerously close to the island. Second was a tender which had been blown over in unusual winds from the harbour. Last week, we spent an evening doing search training, and then last weekend, some of the luckier members of the team went down to Prestwick to spend the day with the Coast Guard helicopter and the fixed-wing aircraft, which is now also based there. Looking ahead, some of the team will be coming to visit the Age Concern meeting on the 18th of November to deliver a presentation, so looking forward to that. And currently, we are only one call out short of the total of the whole of last year. So, not that we're generally too busy compared to other teams, but the service as a whole is certainly getting busier all around the country. That's all I have this month. Anybody have any questions?
Can I ask why?
Why is it getting busier? I think generally the feeling is that more of the partner agencies are requesting our help. So when I say we're generally busier as a service, the busiest team in the UK is in Fleetwood in the northwest of England. They regularly hit something like 400 taskings a year, and they have, I think, 23 on their team. We're looking to come in way under that. I think we'll be looking at maybe 20, 25 for the whole year, and then we have a team of 8. So it very much depends on where in the country you're based. As for why we are getting slightly busier, you could put it down to the uptick in tourism, I suppose, but we've certainly found ourselves tasked alongside police, fire and ambulance much more often than we have in the past, I think. Whether that's a result of better PR or better understanding between what the agencies do, I'm not sure, but I don't want to say the Q word, but here we are at the end of October, and we'll see what the winter brings. But normally things tend to get more weather related as we go into the winter. So yeah, we'll wait and see what the winter brings us.
Okay, and thank you, John. And then also to say, I know some of you will have been walking past and admiring the new notice board. But can we possibly have something from you on the notice board? It would be really nice. I don't know, like what you'd want to say to the community when they're standing bored reading things and kind of catching up, because I've seen quite a few people reading it. It would just be really useful to get that from you. And thank you to everyone who's given us notices so far. Thank you.
Can I ask a question, please?
Yeah.
I was just wondering, John, the fishing trawler that sank, are there any insight from yourself in terms of the marine investigation and when we might hear back?
That will be subject to an investigation by the Marine Accident Investigation Bureau, given what happened and who was involved and so on. The investigations from the MAIB normally take, well, in excess of a year. I don't believe it's slated to be investigated on their website, but I think it's a safe bet to say that it will be. Other than that, I can't say, Callum. We'll be certainly interested to read the outcomes and what learnings there are, as it was obviously a fairly major incident. But yeah, anything that will be released will be fully released to the public. But we may be waiting a little bit longer before any real outcomes or lessons learned come from that one.
Okay, thanks, John.
Thanks.
Any other questions?
Yeah, could I just ask one? Is there any intention for the boat to be lifted, do you know?
It was noted, its position was logged, and I think there was an updated notice to mariners that was issued. I don't know what the discussions have been between the owner and the MCA about recovery. It would be the responsibility of the owner to have it recovered if they wanted it recovered. That's not to say there's any requirement to get it lifted. It's not currently posing a risk where it is, as long as there's awareness that it is there. But no, I certainly haven't heard anything about a desire to get it raised or recovery beyond marking where it is.
Yeah, I thought Field Ports might insist on it. But the other thing was there's been a couple of trawlers going through the channel at night recently, which seems a bit risky because wrecks sometimes move on the bottom, don't they? I think.
Indeed, yeah. With it being in such a popular location as well, you know, the north part of Wee-Cumbrae is only a stone's throw. If you like, Graham, I can make inquiries to see if anybody has raised that or if there's any intention to lift it. I'll see what I can find out if you'd like.
That's just out of interest. Yep, thanks.
Okay.
Thank you. Any? Okay. Right. I'm going to move on. Do we have Duncan? Have you managed to chat to IOCTA at all?
Yes, I managed to get a small bit of information from them. They said they hadn't much to report on, but a date for your diaries for the Christmas Yuletide weekend will be the 5th to the 7th of December, starting with the big Christmas light switch on the Friday, a pantomime on the Saturday, and the man in the big red suit coming to visit mates on the Sunday. They said that they check the posters and the internet for timings, as they don't think they have yet been set in stone. So just look out for the timings for all these things. I'm pretty sure they said that the lights will be switched on about 5 o'clock-ish on the Friday. So, but they said to check the internet. They had also said, no, this isn't to go very far, but it's also said they had hoped to get an exciting project up and running for the festive season this year, but due to funding and time prevented it happening. But everything crossed, it should happen next year. So we've got that to look forward to.
Okay, maybe we make wishes with the man in the red suit. See
Absolutely.
whether he'll deliver that for us this next year. I will, I promise. Thank you. Thank you, CCDC. You probably know the man in the red suit because that's where he comes.
Yes, to the garrison, that's right. Yes, looking forward to seeing him there. Hi everyone, just a brief roundup this evening. At Garrison House, work on the chimneys identified as being required commenced a couple of weeks ago and are ongoing. And we are awaiting confirmation of the dates. We ought to have a cherry picker within the grounds for further works to be completed. Within the Garrison House classroom, this continues to be well used with our weekly art group, Bible studies group, community banking facility, as well as providing the space for the monthly IOCTA and gardening club meetings and hosting community sessions, as with the case last week with Esher Independent Living Network, providing information, re-energy matters for our community. Over at the Drop-In Centre, the Cumbria Youth Project, Karate Club, AA Group, and more recently the Country Dancing Group and Millport Dance Group have been enjoying the improvements made within the building thanks to the funding secured by the CYP team. At our West Lodge, we had hoped to be welcoming Philip Coghill of HIE for a visit following on from our successful Stage 1 application to Scottish Land Fund. The visit was scheduled for Saturday, the 4th of October, but unfortunately, due to the very poor weather, Philip wasn't able to get to the island, so this visit is to be rescheduled. Lastly, CCDC have been in discussion with North Ayrshire Council in relation to the conducting of a feasibility study relating to the area of grounds on which the DA Hall, Old Dance Hall sit, and in relation to the old clinic. I had a meeting with Lynn Wilson, who's one of the regeneration officers at North Ayrshire Council, and following on from this meeting, CCDC will be working towards applying to the repurposing property grant fund to hopefully secure funding for a feasibility study to be conducted. As part of this process, we'll be looking to hold consultation sessions, hopefully in the new year, to gauge the opinions of our community members, to add to the in-depth feedback and information available through Cumbria's Local Place Plan and the Isle of Cumbria Local Island Plan. CCDC will provide updates to not only CCC but to our community through our Facebook page and via our website. And that concludes the report for tonight, unless there's any questions.
Any questions for Jan? Jan, just so you know, I was at an event today and was talking to Scotto and about them next coming onto the island. So I'll be in touch with you offline about the follow-up to the previous discussion about tourism.
That's right, the workshop, yeah, we're just trying to finalise dates and stuff, yeah. So great.
So that should be coming soon. So all right.
Right, I'll look forward to hearing from her. Thanks.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Thank you. Cumbria Forum.
The forum's continuing to be quite busy. Our lunch club is pretty full. We're supplying about 70 plus meals between the Newton Bar and home deliveries for those who are not so well. The shop also continues to be busy. We've had a new door fitted to our hub, which has made it nice and cozy, but it was clashing with the colour, so we've changed the colour of the outside slightly. I don't think you would notice going past in a hurry. We've done that. And just to say our AGM's on Friday the 7th of November at 2 o'clock in the parish church.
I mean, I've heard there have been some complaints about the colour change, and you know, it's deemed quite outrageous. But
Feel
I
free
want
to come and change it. Oh, there is one other thing. Sorry, I did forget. We're happy to support the new table tennis club by funding training of a coach over the next year. So that was the only other thing. Sorry.
And is that in the school or in the
Well, they'll
new-
be in the school, they'll be in the town hall, and if things go well and they need to expand, they'll be in the parish church as well.
Wow. So how many table tennis tables are there on the island at the moment?
think-
Is this like a
I
total
think there's going
festival?
to be 2 for the school, 2 for the church when it comes, and I think there's 2, but they want more in the town hall.
Okay.
You could ask the table tennis folk that just to be sure, but our role is to financially support training of the coach who does live on the island, so that's encouraging.
Okay. Any comments or anyone wanting to book any of the table tennis tables immediately? Okay. I think it's all in the wrist, and I'm happy to learn. Thank you. I don't think we've got Millport Motors here at the moment. Golf club. Do we have anyone here from the golf club? No. Cumbria Primary.
Sorry, I got a new computer yesterday. I'm still getting used to it. Just a short report. Yeah, so that was, well, I didn't have that in the report, but we did get all our devices updated yesterday and some replaced. So that was good to have IT out. So yes, we're all back safely after the October holidays. Children looking forward to the Halloween parties tomorrow. And just, I've got lots of thank yous today. So a little thank you to Lorraine and Elaine and all the girls that help at the garden, because they donated, they grew the pumpkins. So the children have been carving pumpkins, and then tomorrow they're going to be cooking with the pumpkins that they're taking out. So that's been fantastic. And also they'll get party bags from the parent council, so that's very nice. Also want to thank Scott and Diane with all their help with carbon neutral. So we've got our green eco flag. The children kind of know we've got it, but we're having an assembly on Monday to unveil the flag and talk about it. And Diane's coming. I don't know if Scott's going to manage coming, but he's very welcome too. Also at that assembly, we're going to be presenting our sports award flag that we got this week as well. Tony Gohuli, he comes over from Active Schools and takes the children for sports clubs, and the primary 6-7s do athletics. So we got our sports award just at the end of the year. So that's the flag here. So we've got a busy assembly with all these awards we've managed to secure. The primary 6-7s are continuing with athletics, and as we did last year, going to the portal in Irvine for the athletics competition, and we're teaming up with Gateside Primary again, because 2 small schools, we don't have enough to form one team, so we get together for that. We're also doing the rugby. We have a rugby coach from Ardrossan Accies who goes to all the cluster primaries, because Lars Academy is a rugby school and the local club obviously is Ardrossan. So primary 6-7s are enjoying that, and then we'll go to the rugby festival later in the month up at Inverclyde Sports Centre with all the primaries, which we've done before, and that was very successful. We've got 2 new GRSOs in school, which are the Junior Road Safety Officers, and it's usually 2 primary 6 pupils, and they're going to be leading a campaign in school to educate the children about electric scooters. Fiona Cameron, who is in charge of GRSO, she spoke to them. We had a Teams meeting, and she was saying that North Ayrshire have a campaign before Christmas as well, generally in North Ayrshire, to educate people about the legalities of e-scooters. I know we have one child that has an e-scooter, and I think they're hoping that there'll be posters and whatever just before the man in the red suit comes, that parents know if anyone asks for a scooter that they are not allowed to be used at all on roads or pavements. It's got to be but there's no real, you know, there's nothing about wearing helmets or protective clothing. So we might maybe put something in the community board with the 2 boys who are doing that. I'll need to look into whether I can have their pictures and things like that, but they might be going around the community putting things up just to alert everybody about their little research that they're doing about electric scooters. Pantomime on the 10th of December, we're going there. We've also, I'm also in contact with Greer, who's the artist in residence down at Janice and Tim's Hunter gallery. So we're just trying to email back and forward to arrange a week where she can come in and work with the children. There's all these new PVG rules, so it's just trying to get that all up in place and dates confirmed. It's quite tricky just now because all the new legislation's making it a wee bit more difficult to have people in, getting everything. I think she is PVG registered, but you know what it's like, you have to have it for each establishment you're in. So we can get hers refreshed, and hopefully she's going to come in week beginning. I think it's the 11th of December or something. So that's really all I had to report tonight.
Not much then, not much going on there at all. I was just thinking that, like Callum, I don't know whether you're already doing pictures of pumpkins and stuff, and I'm assuming that the primary is sending those pictures over to the paper as a matter of course.
Well, we're going to send. We've already. I don't know if we've been in touch. If Donna in the office has been in touch with Callum already, but we're going to send pictures of all the assembly items, all the flags and everything. The children have sent their pumpkins into Calmac. We've got prizes for them if they took part in the competition, but we'll certainly be sending things to Largs and Millport for a flag.
Well done.
Yeah,
And
so
then
we've got that in
Callum,
hand. I
maybe-
think she phoned the office.
So maybe also Callum could help with your e-scooter campaign, and maybe he could help with a message to the man in the red suit families.
Very much, especially with Millport being Scotland's favourite cycle island.
Yeah. It is a tricky one because people can buy them, they're just not supposed to use them.
Okay.
It would be quite interesting if we'd had the police here, because because the boys were talking to Fiona Cameron about it, and you know, she said that in Edinburgh particularly, they've started to stop people on the scooters who are on pavements and roads, but they're very common to see them around. And I don't think it's a problem, particularly in Millport, but
I was in Liverpool last year, and it was like scooter central. I couldn't believe how many I saw.
Yeah.
Okay.
We did have one pupil who had one, but we got we have, you know, supported them in trying to keep them safe.
Okay, I wondered whether you were saying get rid of it, and then we were going to wonder whether that was the pupil or the e-scooter, but
Oh no, definitely not the pupil, definitely not.
Brutal methods. Okay, so all right, that's great. So you've just given Callum plenty of amazing material. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, any other questions for the primary? Thank you. And so Field Studies Centre, Council.
Hi, yeah, another fairly busy month at FSC with a mixture of schools and universities. We've had schools from near and far have arrived. actually from the adjacent Island Arran Academy are here. They're just about to leave if the ferries are on. From Erskine, St George's in Edinburgh, and a large group of kids come up from Bradford. All in all, 150 pupils visited with ages between 10 and 18. So the uni groups from Glasgow Uni, Glasgow School of Art, who are here just now, you might have seen them wander around the town. Napier from Edinburgh, and St Andrews and Liverpool John Moores all came. They all come back really year on year, these universities, and they've have a huge connection with the Marine Station and studies at Millport. Some of them had a bird's eye view of the large pod of dolphins that has been hanging around the last few weeks at near Keppel Pier, and also around the research vessel Actinia. And one lecturer who'd been coming to the centre for over 28 years, and she said it was the first time she'd ever seen a dolphin. Now she teaches marine biology. So needless to say, she was rather excited, and she's left Cumbria with some wonderful video to show everybody. So she had a good time. So that's it from the FSC. Any questions? No. Okay.
No questions. Okay. Angus is on another cruise, and he did send me a report, and at the moment I can't find it, so I'll jump in later on in the meeting if I can find his report. So I'm going to move on to Key Island projects. Gregor, do you have anything on the place plan?
Yes, I was just going to do an update on the second home council tax. So I think 3 weeks ago I presented our case to North Ayrshire Council's cabinet. And basically it was a legal case that the impact assessment they'd done didn't comply with the requirements of the Islands Act, which require that they identify potential negative impacts of the policy on the island, which it did, but that they also considered changing the policy to mitigate those impacts, which it did not do. So it clearly doesn't comply with the legislation. However, the Cabinet and North Ayrshire Council is entirely SNP councillors, and given that the SNP had just agreed to lift the cap on second home council tax completely, so it could go up now from 100% to literally anything that they want. There is no cap anymore. There was no way that they were going to vote against their own policy. So needless to say, they ignored the legal facts of the matter and dismissed our call for the review. However, some of the non-SNP councillors have subsequently had this called in to the audit committee in North Ayrshire Council because they feel that this decision wasn't made properly. So on Friday next week, the audit committee will review this decision and see if they think it's been made correctly. We don't get a chance to talk at that, but we will be briefing some of the people that can talk at it. And that committee is made up of 9 councillors, and only 2 of them are SNP, so there's a lot better prospect for that to be heard fairly, I guess. So that's the position. So we fell at the first hurdle, I guess we expected to, really, given the makeup of the committee. The audit committee hopefully will have a better chance, but we'll see what happens next week.
Can I add to that one of the things that behind the scenes within the Community Council we've been talking about is that some of the assumptions that North Ayrshire Council uses around the occupancy rates of second homes, and what we're looking to do is to get some facts. So we have put together, I've got it drafted, ready to go out, a quick poll to ask people how often they're letting their second homes.
Not letting it,
occupying it. Sorry, occupying them. How many people are going, so that we can get an annual overview for the properties, because it's 46%, isn't it, of the properties on Millport Callum, I don't know whether if I send you the link, you might give us some help to get it out. We're going to do a really short turnaround before the 7th and try to pull together some stats. Gregor, what is the assumption, the occupancy assumption?
The thing they keep on saying, so they compare second homes with short-term lets and say short-term lets have to be available, whatever it is, 100 odd days a year, whereas a second home only has to be occupied 25 days a year, otherwise it's considered to be an unoccupied property. So they compare that, 140 versus 25, and say that short-term lets therefore are occupied more frequently. Because short-term lets, they only have to be available for that number of days, they don't actually have to be let out. And the second homes, 25 days is the absolute minimum. That's not how often people occupy them. That's the absolute minimum. So it's not a reasonable bit of maths that they've done there. Short-term lets are probably let less frequently, and the second homes are definitely occupied a lot more than that. But it would be useful to know how often people are in their second homes so that we can make a stronger case for them being, part of the community rather than just occasional visitors. So we can put that survey out quickly on Facebook and get some sort of numbers. That would really help that argument.
So I'm going to do that this evening and as a quick survey monkey, and I'll send the link if that's okay, Callum. Okay, thank you. Does anyone have any comments on this? Okay, all right. Also within place plan, I just wanted to talk about the no overnight parking. So we've held a meeting last week, the week before, with North Ayrshire Council, and I managed to get the police, the 2 main landholders, and North Ayrshire Council together. That took quite a few weeks to get kind of that organised, and we had quite an interesting conversation that kind of was starting to outline some of the issues that we're facing. So where we're at is North Ayrshire Council has agreed that they'll go away and talk to the legal team. They're also helping us look at some of the precedents that there are. We haven't dismissed the idea of a bylaw. They're very keen, Russell was really keen that we start focusing on Bell Bay as a test case. We're taking stock of that because we're also concerned about the helipad, and we're concerned about the pier as being places that are safety matters. Those are different, but they still come under the same banner. And two of our actions. One action was to start thinking about how we present the island as being a place that is, and Scott, I'll need to come to you and I'll come to Alka, that is a place of a sustainable place, that is a beautiful space that we don't want to spoil. And then we're going to look at how other islands present, or places present it as a tourist. Please respect this environment. Please don't camp. Please don't destroy it and light fires. And then we're going to go out to try and get some funding to see if we can get a sign when you arrive on the island, and potentially some signs at key points that we're getting a lot of people camping. So, and the other thing, I've been in touch with Jan, we're talking about what the occupancy has been of the camper van site, whether they're, and I know Jan, you're looking at the potential to increase that capacity. Also, whether we do ask for a campsite as part of that. So we're trying to look at it holistically, but also look at how we're presenting the island to get the message out as to, we do welcome tourists and visitors, and please could you follow these guidelines and do it in this way in order to respect the environment. So that's where we've got to. I know and we're going to try and get that moving through the winter months so that by the spring we get signs moving forward. Any comments or questions? Hi, Carol.
Are you including on-street camping in this? Because we yet again had somebody camping outside my house, and I know that legally I can't stop them, but actually it's not terribly pleasant, if I'm brutally honest.
It's so difficult, and so where we've got to, the conversation kind of was quite wide-ranging, and it's going to be one of a series of conversations. I'll happily take that back in. At the moment, we've been edging North Ayrshire Council to realise that actually this is a problem that is quite unpleasant. I created a pack of images for them to see, and I did include the images of the the green areas where people were actually camping in tents outside opposite the Chinese takeaway, and all of those green areas were full of people actually camping, and the complaints that people had 3 o'clock in the morning being woken up by everybody falling out of the pubs. We don't, at the moment, it's the beginning of a dialogue, and they are keen that we focus particularly on Bell Bay. We're keen that we have different solutions for the different areas. That's why, and we're looking at the bylaw. So we've made a tiny bit of progress. We haven't made full progress. I think this is going to be a long, long journey. Councillor Marshall. Should I try and ask you to unmute? Hang on, let's see if that helps. Can you see a button asking you to unmute? It might be a good idea to go out and come back in again. Sometimes when there's some glitch in the system, I don't know if that might be helpful.
If you look at the bottom left hand of your screen, Tom, it should say audio.
Okay. Does anyone else? So Carol, I take that point on board. I've got a bit of a document that shows the 4 different areas of camping and the area and the issues that we have, and along the front is one of those areas. And I raised the issue of people camping with their gas cylinders out on the roadway, and the issue of people having emptied their blue toilets onto beaches that was witnessed. I've listed these issues. It's just so hard to work out how we tackle it and what we do. Councillor Murdoch.
Yeah, thanks. We've raised this on many an occasion, on the island and off. We've had signs installed along various areas of Largs as well. However, signs can just be ignored. It's not as easy to ignore things on the island because it's more in your face because it's along the shorefront. But I can raise it again. I'm pretty sure that's probably what Tom was going to say, that he'd raise it. And obviously happy to help you in any way we can.
We'd really appreciate that. I can send you, because Councillor Collier was going to come to the meeting and then she couldn't make it through family issue on the morning, but I've taken minutes of what was discussed. The issue really is, so what we're trying to do is work out what the legal position is. So legally what we can do. We're going to try and just break down into separate areas so that we talk about people's rights, the right to roam, the right to wild camp near a water course, the fact you have to come in not in a vehicle. So we're going to try and distill those into a really clear, proactive way. Overall, and I know some people won't agree, because I know there are people on this call who are very, very tired of it. Overall, the feeling is that that the signs we've put up so far have in a bit to an extent lowered it. In Bell Bay, I think 35 was the number that people have seen campsites just on Bell Bay itself, and there are no toilets there. So all of that human waste was then buried in Bell Bay for that weekend's worth of camping. And the thing about it is, it's got to a point of such a health hazard, let alone Carol having people camping outside her front door. So we've got a camper van site. What we want to do is to say, this is the number of camper vans you can bring onto the island. If you haven't booked, please leave. We don't want you camping around. But then it's what we do in the evening. It's one of those permanent issues.
If you carry out, if you're a car valet or a bin cleaner, you can valet cars in the street. You can't wash cars in the street because you can't let the wastewater go down the drain commercially. If you are a wheelie bin cleaner, you have to be licensed by North Ayrshire Council. You have to have a recycling system in your van or your trailer, and you have to be licensed by SEPA. And I believe it's an up to a £5,000 fine for putting any of this stuff down the rainwater drains, any wastewater. And as far as I know, and the reason I'm telling you that, as far as I know, motorhomes and camper vans pouring their wastewater down the rainwater drains is potentially open to the same amount of fines, but I would need to double check that one. But that, as far as I know, is the law for that kind of stuff. What's the difference with putting wastewater down the drains? I think it'll be the same penalty, but I'll need to check that.
We've also had it noted that if people are parking up near where they think they're quite near a pub in order to go and imbibe and then coming back slightly wobbly and then in a vehicle and intoxicated, that could constitute something. But then what? We don't have a proactive police force at the moment because it's a skeleton police force. They're not likely to be going into camper vans and saying you're drunk and therefore so one of the things I want to do is to work out how far we can go, do some really, really strong messaging, and then pursue and continue where we get to with the bylaw. The North Ayrshire Council has said, and I've chased them again, that they are now talking to their legal team. I'll forward those emails to all of you so that you can see where we've got to, and I'll forward you the minutes of the meeting that we've held. We're going to bring Jan into the conversations now, and we're going to see if we can get the tourism people as well so that we can all speak with one voice.
Yeah, well, as I say, I'll help in any way. That's one of the reasons Tom chairs the Tourism Forum. That through the tour, I'm on the Tourism Forum, and through that, I proposed that we're on a pilot scheme for motorhomes and camper vans at the Bowen Craig car park in Largs, and provide services. We haven't got ground to quite doing that yet. However, one of the reasons that I proposed that was the fact that we were having a terrible trouble with people pouring their wastewater on their rock groins and their waste and various other things there. As I say, it's worse in Millport because you're right on the main street.
Yeah. So sorry, Carol. Councillor Marshall, have you able to speak? Yay.
I think so. Can you hear me? Yes.
Yeah. Yay.
No, I got a software update and hadn't sorted out. Bylaws. We've tried to get bylaws previously with North Ayrshire Council, and I'm just warning you, they don't like to do them because they say they can't enforce them. But in Largs, in terms of camper vans along like St Broomfields and Aubrey Crescent and things like that, we've managed to get some signs up saying no overnight parking, and that's been quite effective. It's a bit of bluff, really, because there's no one really around to enforce it. But I don't know, have you got these kind of signs on the seafront on Millport? Yeah.
We've got them around the back of the island, and to start with, some of them got stolen, we got them replaced. That was a big deal last year, and we think that has had a material difference along the front. But one of the comments we've had is that on the beaches, we're not telling people they're not welcome, that this is private land, they're not welcome to camp here. We're not telling them what to do, and so we need to be much more directive to say, if you want to camp, we have a campsite, book in advance, here's a QR code, thank you, this is not a camping beach, and this is why it's not a camping beach. So I'm going to start, I've also spoke to Scotto about that, which is they're a community tourism group that have been working with Jan, and I've asked them to go and find me some precedents as well as North Ayrshire Council, and North Ayrshire Council just come back this afternoon with some ideas. So I will pursue that, and I'll share with both of you, and I'll share so that you're aware in terms of like the group what's been going on. Councillor Marshall and Councillor Murdoch, that would be really helpful. And we'll share our plans, and we do need help because this isn't solved, and we keep on getting to winter, and then suddenly we roll into spring again, and it's just not been resolved. Councillor Murdoch.
Just to sort of highlight the fact that I've dealt with several sites around the back of the island, all around the island, where they've smashed up benches, set them alight, used barbecues, and just disposed of rubbish everywhere. And you know, when you recognise that motorhomes and camper vans are such a huge industry, if you like, and such a huge leisure activity right across Scotland, they're actually destroying the country, and it's ridiculous. And we need more enforcement powers. And I agree with Tom, bylaws are notoriously lacking in North Ayrshire, but it's about time we had some kind of powers to control this stuff.
Yeah. So they aren't keen on a bylaw. They say it takes a very, very long time. I'm saying we've got time. We need to sort this out. So, and a bylaw would potentially be I don't know whether we could do different elements. Previously, they told me you all had to have one type of land tenure, but it turns out the bylaw that exists around Loch Lomond and the Trossachs is many different tenures. So I think that's why I've asked them to go and speak to their legal team so that we can work out what's possible. Okay, so we will be coming back to this and I'll share the details in terms of what's happened so far. Okay, on to carbon neutral islands, please.
Thanks, Alex. Good evening, everyone. Firstly, huge congratulations to Cumbria Primary School on their Eco Schools Green Flag, as per the news from Jennifer. That is a huge achievement, particularly for small schools, to do the amount of work that's involved in that. And I think Cumbria Primary, as always, have really embodied what that award means. So it's absolutely fantastic. It has been passed up to Scottish Government already to make them aware of it, through our team at for the Carbon Neutral Islands, and we'll be putting something together alongside the school, hopefully to pass on into the press as well, because it is something we should be really proud of, and the children have done absolutely fantastically there. Cumbria has also been named as one of 4 finalists for the Best Community Project at the Scottish Green Energy Awards this year. This is based around the Millport solar and battery project that we've been working on with the rooftop solar PV. So I'm sure you're all sick of hearing me say it now. We have seen a 466% increase in the last 2.5 years. That takes us to just over 0.5 megawatt. We are hoping that that will be up to 0.65 megawatts by March 26, and then hopefully by 2030, 1 megawatt. This is a different way of looking at community energy, and it's something that's starting to be recognised across the landscape. So yeah, we're in there with Radio City and their wind turbine at Kilbirnie, also the Isle of Egg and the Isle of Muck. So we should find out if we've been successful there in December. But just to be nominated for that is absolutely fantastic. We have got a feasibility underway for a solar-covered car park on the island. This is very early stages. This would be a community energy project that we hope would result in some sort of community benefit fund. As with any of these types of projects, there's a lot of early technical feasibility needs to go on. So that is happening at the moment, and we hope to have some sort of initial report on that in December, which we would then take out to the community probably in the new year for feedback. North Ayrshire Council have reported that all of the identified sites for Japanese knotweed have been sprayed. There was a couple of the areas just opposite Lion Rock and Fintry Bay where some parts of it couldn't be reached safely. So the full extent of that will be seen once it starts to die back a little bit. But from what they've said, the vast majority of it has been sprayed. We also have an upcoming meeting with Reheat Consultants. That was the company that did the feasibility for the community heat network. They have been working with Social Investment Business, or SIB, and they would like to discuss with us a more technical feasibility phase for a community heat network. Just as a reminder, that was looking at up to 600 households within the conservation area as part of a district heating network. Again, very early stages with that. And we have also started to thermally map properties that we've been working with in the town using thermal imaging. This allows us to understand the actual heat loss that's coming from the building in real time, rather than just the modelling that you get from energy performance certificates. So it's much more accurate, and we hope that this will allow us to better target retrofit work and funding that we're able to access through the various funding streams. And that is not all of it, but it's probably the important updates for now.
Any questions or comments from anyone? Go. I can see you. You're still on mute. Now I can hear you.
Okay, I wondered where this solar covered car park is planned to be.
There are several different sites that we've identified. Some I can't share because it would be classed as private land, and we have had conversations with the owners, but I can't share that just now. One area that is being considered is the existing car park within the garrison, where the Age Concern and the dance hall, etc. are. So that's one site that's being considered. That's not to say that that's where it would go. But yeah, we've identified a few sites. That one I can share, the others I can't at the moment, I'm afraid.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, we're going to move on to the town hall. I've got a report from them. Millport Town Hall, as we said earlier, we're delighted to welcome so many people to their grand opening on Wednesday, the 2nd of October. The Provost, ably assisted by the Cumbrae Queen, cut the ribbon. Craig Hatton, Chief Executive, and Marie Burns, Council Leader, were also in attendance alongside some local councillors and other North Ayrshire Council colleagues. We were also delighted to welcome the Deputy Lieutenant to the King. It was a celebration of the regeneration of the building and so nice to see everyone. The children particularly enjoyed themselves with table tennis, and then Millport Dance Troupe were on stage, followed by Zoe MacArthur singing. Parents saw the stage once again being used. There's going to be an open day on Saturday, the 1st of November, from 11 to 2, and everybody is welcome. So if you haven't seen it yet, you get a chance to go in and see the town hall coming up. Marina. Unless anyone has town hall questions that I can pass on.
Sorry, could I just ask a question to Scott from the earlier? I thought of something. It was just what the capacity was of the car park.
That's all part of the feasibility study, so it can vary. So yeah, that's all part of the feasibility study. And as I say, it's very early stages, so we haven't got any of that information back yet.
Obviously, parking is a huge factor for the island. So, would it be fair to say that it could facilitate a fair degree of cars? Do you think?
We'd like to think so. The reason this approach or this project in particular has been looked at is exactly as you've said. Parking is an issue on the island. So, if we're able to solve that problem at the same time as solving a community energy problem, then it's two ticks. Albeit, I think in the long run, we'd like to see a reduction in the number of cars that are coming to the island. But yeah, one thing at a time.
Thanks, Scott. Sorry for interjecting the town hall, which was utterly fabulous last week, I have to say, Alex. I mean, it was one of the most amazing moments in terms of the island that I've seen in many a year. So brilliant.
Really glad. I'm really glad. It's amazing. Okay, thank you. And then Marina coming, which will also be deeply exciting.
Oh, it will. Unfortunately, these reports are beginning to sound like a broken record because there's not much to report at the moment. The consultant, Wallace Stone, and North Ayrshire Council and the design team are still working through the huge list of items that need to be dealt with to come up with the designs, etc. And it's hoped that we'll be able to have a meeting with the team to run through the resultant proposals within the next couple of months. I'm not sure I'm holding my breath for that. It might well be longer. We've been told that this will be followed by public consultation meetings, which will hopefully take place in the new year. So really nothing much to report except work still ongoing.
Okay, does anyone have any Marina related questions? That's disappointing. Cathedral. Do we have any reports?
Yeah, I suppose so. It's probably worth saying, I mean, the cathedral had a very busy weekend last weekend with the friends of the cathedral gathering from across the country at the cathedral as we celebrated the 200th anniversary of George Frederick Boyle's birth, with evensongs and various things happening, which was quite which was quite lovely in parts. In terms of the ongoing cathedral project, we have been extraordinarily busy trying to sort out the paperwork for the Court of Sessions to get the 1870s Cumbrae Trust document turned into a new Cumbrae Trust SCIO. The new Cumbrae Trust SCIO is finished now. You can see it on the Oscar website, but it's not populated. So we're waiting for that. We're waiting for the Court of Sessions just to do that. In the meantime, because things are starting to move a bit faster, we have started with detailed business planning, etc., to move on to the next stage of getting the place back open properly.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Carol. Any questions for Carol? Okay, Gregor, licensing planning.
This will be very quick. The only thing we have is 2 replacement windows for the ground floor, 26 Miller Street. So it's not exactly the XLCC, but that's all we've got.
Thank you. We haven't got North Ayrshire Council here, and we've heard about the Japanese knotweed spraying, which is really welcomed. So over to councillors' updates. So Councillor Murdoch, you're top of my screen.
Yeah, well, we're a wee bit short of time, but continue to deal with constituency and some ongoing islands around the island and over the whole of the constituency. However, I would like to pick up on what Callum said earlier. I attended the opening of the town hall. I thought it was absolutely wonderful. Huge potential for the future. Huge congratulations to Angie and the whole team. However, I did go over with Angie and the rest about the meeting we had back in 2017 in Angie's Lounge when it first kicked off, and I'd just been elected, or not long elected. And me being me, I'd asked various questions and made various statements in her lounge on the day of that meeting. And somebody who shall remain nameless grabbed me and said, "Don't get so het up about it because it'll never happen." So, ha 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 to that. But I think it's a wonderful achievement. I really do. I've supported it for the start, and I'm really, really disappointed that that comment that was made all of those years ago. But let's look on the positives of the things that are happening, like the town hall, the flood defence, the potential for the Step Ashore Marina, what's happening at the Water Sports Centre, all wonderful stuff. However, it all has to be and needs to be supported by a reliable, efficient and accessible ferry service, of which we didn't have much discussion on tonight because Angus wasn't here, etc. But the whole island, is, as far as I'm concerned, is on the up at the moment. There's so many positive things happening, but you have to be able to access it. And we'll just need to keep pressuring CalMac to do this kind of stuff, because it's still not, especially with the negative stuff that's come away recently with the potential for breaks due to the servicing routine and maintenance routine. We need to get on top of this. Duncan will probably confirm this, I hadn't attended a Cumbrae Ferry User Group meeting for a considerable time. I have a clash of meetings. That's one of the reasons I don't attend these, because I always have a clash of meeting. It just so happened tonight I was available. And the Duncan was at that Cumbrae Ferry User Group meeting where I turned up and hadn't been for almost a year. And we were talking about the same stuff that I was talking about the previous time I was there. And I just shook my head. Maybe 20 minutes into the meeting, I said exactly that. I can't believe we're talking about the same stuff we were talking about the last time I was here. So that's my moan for today, my rant for today. The ferry service needs to be supportive of all the positive stuff that's happening on the island.
Thank you, Councillor Murdoch. We agree wholeheartedly. And in a way, we're totally shocked that Angus, he's not here. He said he'd give me a report, I can't find it, but also that he has gone on a cruise when he spends his life fighting the ferries. And I think we all need to question his health issues and sort it out. I've got a comment about wellbeing later. I'll be offering it to him. So, Councillor Marshall.
Yes, I just want to quickly go over the second homes charge. I was at the meeting where Gregor did his presentation, and it was pretty well ignored by the ruling administration and the council. And I'm part of the group who are calling this whole thing into the cabinet, calling into the audit committee again in a week on Friday. I don't think we'll win it. It's going to be a severe charge on people who've got second homes. There are ways round this. Gregor talked about people having short-term lets. Now, this is the council's argument that you can just turn your second home into a short-term let, but a lot of them are not suitable to doing that. But I was at an online meeting last night of a group called the Association of Scottish Self-Caterers, and they're fighting the Scottish Government over various things, over the short-term lets and the self-catering business. But I discovered there that you can have a house as a short-term let by letting it just for 70 days in a year, and it's to be available for 140 in total. So that's one way around, but for people to avoid paying the double council tax, they can register as a short-term let it for 70 days, and I believe you can let it to one person for 70 days, and that will avoid you going for the second homes tax. But we'll wait and see what happens a week on Friday. We'll do our best. I don't think we'll win it. If you had pots of money, as some other groups have, you could employ a KC and you win this case hands down, because the council has not offered any mitigation, and that's against the law. They're meant to offer a mitigation to this, but there's a lot to play for, so we'll wait and see where it goes. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We've had some offers of legal help, but the question is that the issue we have is that if we lose, then as a community we have to bear the other parties. So if we take it further, we'd have to bear their costs. So I think that's one of the issues for us, rather than, I mean, we're prepared to put in the work, but it's complex. So thank you, and we appreciate the support on that. Under AOB, I've just got 2 items, slightly random. One I'm going to be offering to Angus because of his boat issues, and that is that I've been told that there is an island wellbeing hub, and could I mention it, please? They've received funding via the community's mental health and wellbeing fund, and they offer free 15-minute massages and health-related workshops open to all adult island residents via Meta Wellbeing CIC, our social enterprise. Gregor, are you wanting to book a massage?
No, I just thought I'd ask a question just to make sure that you run over time.
No, please don't.
What's on the screen machine? Does anybody know?
Yes. Are you doing that? Is that called filibustering? I'm shutting you down and saying no. I'm answering the other AOB, and you'll have to look online at the screen machine. So, Councillor Murdoch, you're doing it to me now.
No, I was waiting till we're finished so as I can raise that item under AOP.
Thank you for treating this with more respect than some people on this call. I'll finish my other AOB, which is deeply interesting. So we've had another email separately saying there's an individual who's looking to donate wild beehives to rural areas as part of an environmental project and study. Would we be interested? If we are, we have an email he's called Kevin Bees Hancock. I think he might not have that as his middle name. I think he might just be passionate. So if anyone feels they would like rural wild beehives, I believe you don't have to do anything. They just arrive, the bees live, and it makes a difference to the environment. So please get in touch with me. Thank you. I'll hand over to the final
Sorry, Alex. It may be Beecology who are on the island they used to have. Would they be interested?
I don't know. They've had 3 hives. I think they died. I will go to them and double check before I go back and say no, but I just thought I'd mention it this evening in case anyone else was feeling. I think these are wild bees. Beecology was trying to get the honey out of the bees.
Right, okay.
Beecology's actually got a new hive, at least 2, I think, up at the cathedral now. So they changed their site to try to get over the dying part of it. So, but they may be interested up there. Actually, it might be a place. The cathedral may be a place to put one. If you could send me the email, that'd be good.
Okay, thank you, Carol.
Thanks.
Okay, Councillor Murdoch.
Yeah, thanks very much. I'm not actually speaking as councillor. It was just to raise under any other business as chair of the Clyde Coast and Cumbries Men's Shed. We, at the start of this month, we won Shed of the Year. There's over 200 sheds in Scotland, and Clyde Coast and Cumbries Men's Shed, which covers West Kilbride, Fairlie Largs, Cumbrie and Skermerley, won Shed of the Year. It's a huge achievement, and I just wanted to mention, as I have done in every other community council, that we'd like to thank every member we have, because we have quite a few members from Cumbrie that come over to the shed, and it's the members that are responsible for us winning that award and getting to where we are now. So I've just mentioned that to every community council, that thanks very much to everyone who's either a supporter or a member.
Thank you. And can I just ask, was it your men's shed that did the frame for all of the plaques?
No, it was supposed to be, but there was a council issue there, and it ended up going to the fabricator in Kilmarnock. We were supposed to do it, but there was let's just say it was too much red tape involved. The council do what the council usually do. They make things far too complicated. But anyway, you've got something that's fit for purpose now. We would have liked to have made it, and we are sorry that we didn't make it, but things were pretty restrictive in the process.
Okay, well, now that we know that you're a superb men's shed, we'll all think of which projects, and maybe the primary might have some amazing projects that maybe that you could collaborate on, so that we can see some outputs on the island. That would be amazing.
Yeah, well, we're very disappointed that the men's shed in the basement of the town hall never came to fruition. However, we are only a ferry ride away, because we're in the Brisbane Centre. It's only 100 yards from the pier or from the ferry, so you can come over on the ferry and just walk to the shed. We have regular attenders for the island, and their membership's very much appreciated.
Okay, that's brilliant. Thank you. Thank you for ending on a positive note. All right, everybody, see you in another month. Thank you for everything you're doing. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.